All right, good afternoon and welcome to Real Talk with Dan Edwards. It's Wednesday, September 16th in the Pacific Northwest, and it is smoky outside. So I hope everybody's indoors, and I hope they are working with making sure they have great filters in your home. So as a real estate agent, every inch of the home is super important, but I thought I would just bring that out today, that if you haven't changed your air filter, I recommend you go buy 2 HEPA filters. Go out, Home Depot, Lowe's, grab a couple of HEPA filters, bring them home, turn on your summer fan if if you don't have air conditioning, and if you do, swap it out today, and then maybe swap it out again in about 2 weeks so that you have nice clean air. Anyways, thanks for joining Real Talk with Dan Edwards with the Eastside Real Estate Team. We've got a fantastic show today, and you can listen to past episodes and segments of our past shows on our website at the eastsiderealestateteam.com. You can also find us anywhere Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts are streamed. All right, so today we are going to be visiting with several fantastic local businesses. Sheila Storrer, who is a life and leadership coach, and Ngina Shulman with Lotus Media, and Doug Peterson are one of our regular guests with Get Priorities Straight. And I just want to welcome all of these fabulous people to the show. Say hello, everybody. Thanks for coming on.
Greetings.
All right.
Nice to be here.
All right, fantastic.
Thanks for having us.
Before we get to the real talk, or before we get to our segments with our guests, let's begin with some real talk. So I got to tell you, 2020 has thrown everything in the book at us. The only thing missing right now are some earthquakes. So just be aware, you might want to batten down the hatches just in case. Maybe you check your earthquake strapping. But we know that this year has been a tremendous hardship for many people. And our team, the Eastside Real Estate Team, has been kind of thinking about what we can do to give back to the community. My wife, Lisa, and I have been incredibly blessed. We have been able to stay employed and working. The housing market, as you know, as you've heard from me, is really moving along pretty good. And so we're really blessed and thankful for that to be the case. And so we looked out and extended our reach, and we decided to partner with a group that is called Best Christmas Ever. They're a nonprofit. They started out in the Midwest. We're going to help local families during the holiday season. And really the whole premise of the Best Christmas Ever is to identify as many families as you can that have fallen on hard times with no fault of their own. Last year, they helped over 1,500 families. And it looks like 1,500 families, were nominated, but only 126 families blessed. That's actually a pretty big number. And our goal this year is to try and see what we can do to nominate some families in the area and then see if we can help as many as possible. So we've got some financial things set up where you can forward this to a friend or to a friend of a friend. But what we're asking not only our business community to do, but also our friends out there that are watching this, is go to our website. We've got to get some families nominated between now and November 15th. You can go to our website, the eastsiderealestateteam.com, and go to the About section and then go to the Giving Back section. So why don't I just show you where this is, so if you're looking, you can find it. I am going to bring up my website in this screen right here. Okay, so hopefully you guys are seeing my screen with Google on it. If my in-studio guests or Zoom's guests could just nod if that's what you're seeing right now. Okay. So if you go to the eastsiderealestateteam.com and you go to the About section, we've got a Giving Back section. And here it gives you kind of a little more information about what the Best Christmas Ever is and the nomination process. And you can just click here and you can go and nominate somebody with some information. So I just can't stress enough that if you know somebody, or if you know somebody who knows somebody in the community, and that's anywhere really in Washington State, we're trying to keep it in the Puget Sound region because we are going to be doing some things. We're going to be raising some funds, and we're going to be delivering Christmas gifts. So this is pretty cool. The other part of this is donating. There are actually two parts of the donation. There's going to be time and then money. So we're asking our community to, send out the information. Oops, that's actually, we'll fix that link. So this link got replaced. But we have a link directly to our page that allows you to go on and donate. It's run through, what's the name of it? I'm gonna look at it. Kindful. Yeah, here it is. So Kindful, you can go, and we'll refresh that link so that you can go, and we'll make sure. I'm going to be sending this out probably every other day until we get our goal. So right now our goal is $5,000, and that helps us sponsor one family. But I know in the Puget Sound area we have some super generous people, and we also have companies that'll do matching. So I would love to be able to sponsor 2, maybe 3 families. So as you're kind of getting ready for the holiday season, and if you find the ability to give, we'll hope you do that. But it starts with the nomination process, so please consider that. All right, let's go ahead and stop sharing if I can. All right, so so the bottom line is this last fourth quarter, our team is already committed. We have already donated $1,000 to the Best Christmas Ever. And we just love for people to help out and do it online as well. And if you're interested, I mentioned there's another part. So in mid-December, we're actually going to have a giving tree and a gift wrapping party. So so maybe just put that out there. We're gonna, I believe it's the 2nd or 3rd week in December. We'll put out a party. We'll bring everybody out. We'll have some beers and pizza and socially distance. So we'll schedule it so that we can kind of, maintain the same restrictions. But I'm very excited about this process. And, we've got some great guests today. I'm going to pause for a quick commercial break. So after this break, we're going to be talking with Sheila Storrer. So come on right back after this short break.
Are you tired of not knowing where your money is going? Do you feel like you start getting ahead on your finances, then get hit by an unexpected expense and feel behind? Doug Peterson with Get Priorities Straight helps guide you to getting your money to do what you want it to do instead of wondering where it went. Doug has helped ambitious, busy, successful people be delighted by handling their money wisely. To have a conversation with Doug, call 206-264-4424 or email meeting@ltsgps.com or info@getprioritiesstraight.com.
Welcome back. You're watching Real Talk with Dan with the Eastside Real Estate Team. And our first guest today is Sheila Storrer. And Sheila Storrer is the owner-operator of Sheila Storrer Life and Leadership Coach. She's got 20 years as a licensed independent clinical social worker and therapist. Sheila brings a unique understanding of opportunities, the challenges that people face in all areas of their lives. She works with women in every stage of their lives, from recent college grads finding their way in the corporate world to people reinventing themselves in retirement and through the many transitions in between. Her training as a life and leadership coach emphasizes a holistic approach that looks at the interconnectivity of our professional and personal lives and addresses the deep-seated perceptions and attitudes of women held back. Welcome to the show, Sheila.
Thank you. So nice to be here.
Well, I really appreciate you taking time out of your afternoon. So tell me a little bit about yourself. I think you are a recent empty nester. Is that correct?
Yes. I wasn't sure. It was touch and go there for a while, but both my sons were able to head back. So this is very bizarre. It's like my kitchen stays clean. My house is quiet, which isn't necessarily a good thing. It's very eerie. It's so quiet around here, but we're figuring it out.
Yeah, it's interesting that the pandemic changed it all for us. We had a child heading off to college.
Oh, you as well.
So the youngest was excited to be the only and was looking forward to that, but it's changed it all. So we're a full house for now, but how quickly that changes, and then you got to look around and go, what am I going to do with myself, right?
Totally.
So what made you decide to become a coach?
So I am a social worker and also a therapist. And what I found with my clients is that I found that I was having a lot of forward focused conversations. Like, how do you want your future to be? What do you want to create? And those are typically coaching conversations. So about, gosh, it's been 5 years now. I went back to school and I went to accomplishment coaching and completed a 1-year coach training program and transitioned to my business. And I really love it. I love having those kinds of conversations.
All
They're
right.
really fun.
So what exactly is a coach?
Okay, that's such a great question. I love to really kind of, especially with given my background, I like to give a little bit about how coaching is different than therapy, because a lot of times people aren't sure. And that's actually the first question that people will usually ask me when I say I'm a coach. They're like, what is that and how is that different? And so how I'd like to describe it is, in therapy, we're doing a lot of healing. We're doing a lot of looking to the past. We're doing a lot of processing of emotions, all awesome stuff, all stuff that is so wonderful. In coaching, we're not so interested in what happened or why you got to where you are. We're more looking at like, oh, you're like whole and complete. What do you want to create in your life? Like from here, like, what do you really want? So that's where we really start, is like getting that clear picture of what you want to create, and then taking a look at what's in the way. Like, and usually it's like made up stuff that we have in our heads. So it's really, so it's like twofold. It's getting super clear on what you want to create, and then figuring out what's getting in the way of you creating it.
Well, who's somebody that you would say would sincerely benefit from the style of coaching that you provide?
What I love about what I get to do is I work with people who are up to all sorts of cool things, all different stuff. And so for me, it's not really so much about what they're trying to create. It's more about how can we make it happen? So I have clients who are writing books who hire me for, I've got this book I want to write. I just can't get it going. I have other clients who are starting businesses and they have this great idea and they just need support along the way. I have other people who are, trying to figure out how to level up at work. How can I really show up powerfully? And then I also have people who are like, I have no clue what it is. Like, I have no clue how I want my life to look. And so with clients like that, we spend a lot of time like really looking at, what are you passionate about? Like, what do you value? Like, what is it? And then we kind of start from there.
So break down kind of a typical client experience. How does it work when somebody calls you and says, okay, I would like some outside help here?
Yeah. So usually how we start the conversation is, what is it? Like, what is that thing that you're craving in your life? Sometimes they know, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's like, I want to be in a relationship. Sometimes it's like, I really want to create a side hustle. Sometimes it's like, I really want to work on family stuff. Like, I have this idea of how I want my family to be. Like, can you support me to get that? And so initially what we do is we spend a lot of time just getting super clear, like, what is it? And then we put goals in place, we put structures in place. I'm really big on creating accountability in your life. The one thing that I feel very fortunate to have is to have the mental health background, that I can get on a conversation, get on the phone, and during a first conversation, I can really help people sort out, is coaching going to be most supportive, or maybe therapy is going to be most important? Maybe it's like, yeah, maybe you need to go and maybe do a little therapeutic work, and then we can work together. I also have clients where they're working with a therapist and with a coach, and that actually works super. That's really great. So
that puts you in a position of being able to just really focus on the future and not have to focus, be stuck in the past. Well, not stuck, but working on the past.
Yeah, and sometimes there's some work that we need to do on our past, and there's some stuff that we need to clean up or get clear on, or kind of like sort through. And so then I can get a sense of that through a conversation, and really, and if someone does need to do some therapy, then I have great resources that I can send them to. And so for me in my work, it's less about, like, someone might say like, oh, I'm this way because, okay, I'm just making this up. Like, I'm this way because when I was 10, my mom or dad said blah, blah, blah. And in coaching, from a coaching place, we'd be like, okay, that happened. Like, what do you want to do about it? Like, okay, from here, like, yeah, that's your thing. Like, and that's just your thing. Like, now what are we gonna, how can you move forward? Where in therapy, we might really sit with that. We might really dissect that and get into whatever that thing is. Both super powerful, both really helpful. It's just two different ways to look at the same sort of thing.
What are some examples of some of your most powerful outcomes that you've helped someone achieve? If you can share, obviously any confidential stuff, obviously not, but.
Yeah, for sure. I have a client who finished her book. She was just so stuck around it, was just making it mean all these things about her that she was struggling with it. We put together a plan, really got her present. What I really love to do is help my clients get really present to the vision. Because if you have that really powerful vision, that's the thing that's going to pull you forward when you're like, I don't want to do the thing. But if you can represence yourself like, oh yeah, I'm doing it because this is this amazing thing I want to create, you're going to get out of bed and work towards the thing. I have another client she was in her mid-20s and just started working at a tech company and was just really trying to find her way in that transition between college, who am I, what I want to do, to really like showing up powerfully at the grown-up table is what we used to call it. Like, how do you want to be at the grown-up table? And she just really, really stepped into her leadership. And
we're not talking about Thanksgiving right now, right?
No, I know, right? We often have conversations about how we want to be with our families at Thanksgiving as well.
Okay, all right, very good. So how is? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, what I'm finding during COVID that's been pretty interesting, because this is a hard time, right? And so it's really looking at how can we still have a life that we want? Like, how can we create relationships? How can we grow our businesses? How can we date? How can we? It's been very. It's been interesting at the beginning of COVID where a lot of people were like, I can't have what I want. And now I think people are looking at, hey, we're going to be in this for a while. Like, we don't know, like, I really want that thing. It may look a little different. I may go about it a little different, but how can I still get that life that I want in the midst of some really insane circumstances?
Insane. Yeah, I would say that from a challenge standpoint, even starting a new business in this type of environment, and there are a lot of people that have had to reinvent themselves just out of necessity. And,
Absolutely.
Is that an example of somebody that you could come alongside and help guide them getting their business started or finding their focus there?
Yeah, I have a lot of clients who've really had to make some big changes, people that are used to doing in-person events, people that are used to doing like face-to-face sales. How do I get my business online? Can I even still have my business? How can I change it? So just spent a lot of time just doing a lot of brainstorming and it's been, I think that's the one thing through the pandemic. It's been remarkable what the shifts that people have made in such a short amount of time. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. People's resilience and creativity. I would agree.
Yeah. Well, Sheila, that's about all the time we have. Do you have anything special that you'd like to offer any of those folks watching or listening to this?
I would. I would love to offer anyone who's interested in, I've been calling them laser support sessions. They're 30-minute sessions where you can jump on a call with me and we can talk about whatever you want. We can talk about COVID, how to get supported, how to create self-care. We can talk about an idea that you have around your business. We can talk about maybe some stuff that's going on at home that you need some support around with your kids or being with your spouse all the time at home. I'd love to offer that to anyone. And you can either message me through Facebook, drop a comment, or message me.
Okay. Do you have a phone number or would you prefer email?
Yeah.
Okay.
Phone number. I'd love a call or a text. It's 425-941-9194. And even if you're just really struggling with COVID, give me a call. I can give you some ideas on how to get some support.
All right, Sheila. Thank you so much for coming on today. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Next up, after this short break, we're going to be speaking with Ngina Shulman of Lotus Media. So come right back after this short commercial break.
Every business benefits from high-quality videos that greet their website visitors and immediately establish a connection on social media. While pictures and text are great at giving details, a video conveys emotion and draws your audience in. Unified Cinematic Videography works with companies large and small to advance their video marketing goals. More than just a video production company, they help you discover your story and share it in a way that resonates with your audience, producing videos that create curiosity and inspire action. Mention the Eastside Real Estate team and receive $500 off the website introduction video package on our website, regularly priced at $4,000. To learn more or schedule a free strategy session, visit unifiedcinematic.com.
Welcome back. You're watching Real Talk with Dan with the Eastside Real Estate team. And our next guest today is Ngina Shulman with Lotus Media. We'll be speaking about how to not choke while you're talking. No, we're actually going to be speaking about how to preserve memories before it's too late. And Ngina is a proud mom of 2 beautiful kids and the owner of Lotus Media. She and her husband, Kurt, work tirelessly to ensure your videos and photos are treated with care and future-proof for many generations to enjoy. And Ngina attended Dartmouth College and grew up in the DC area and was working for tech companies like AOL. You guys remember that one? Before finally moving to the fantastic Pacific Northwest. Welcome to the Northwest, and Ngina, I know you've been here, what now, 3 years, 4 years?
I think it's going on 7 years. So I think I need to stop.
7
I
years.
think I need to stop saying that I'm new here, even though I do feel like I'm still new here. So thank you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, I would show you guys all my wedding videos and photos because I'm a fan of Ngina's product. But we had a bunch of photos all on in boxes, like these acid-free boxes and all that kind of stuff. And we're like, okay, yeah, cool. And for everybody here on this panel that I know, you remember back in the day when the photos were you had to actually take a bunch of photos and hope they turned out, then went and get them developed, right? So we got those all transferred to digital, and so it's been a lot of fun. But Ngina, in your own words, tell me what it is that Lotus Media does.
Well, in my words, Lotus Media really is a company that helps preserve your memories for generation after generation. I've been thinking a lot about that lately with the fires that have been going on everywhere, that you lose a physical copy of those photos and they're gone. You can't replace them. You lose those moments in time forever. So I really think it's important that you preserve those things, and we can put those on a flash drive. And once you have them on a flash drive, I highly suggest people putting them in the cloud. So then if something should happen to your hard drive in a fire or a natural disaster, that you still have those memories to look back on. Pictures and words and sound are really powerful reminders to get you back to a time. I'm sure that you look at your wedding pictures and you can see a certain thing in it, and you remember a certain moment that was going on that day, or you remember how everything felt during your wedding day. So what we really do is making sure that those moments in time get preserved forever.
So tell me some of your bigger success stories. I know you have a ton of them, of folks that have brought stuff to you. Maybe they didn't even know what they had, and their testimonials after receiving what you guys did for them.
Yeah, so some really great stories that I have recently. I have 2 that are actually come to mind. Is someone thought that they had a tape of a parent who had passed, and they couldn't get the tape to play on any of their machines, and they had kind of just decided that the tape was null and void, and that it just didn't work. And it turns out that the tape was actually a PAL tape, which is a European format tape. So they couldn't play it in any of their machines, but we could play it in our machines. So this tape that they had been taking from place after place that they thought, they were holding on to because it said, their father's name on it. They were holding on to it because they really thought something was on it, even though they couldn't see it. So it was just really wonderful to give this person 30 minutes of seeing their father, which was really beautiful. Yeah.
Now, it's interesting to consider the whole process because clearly most physical documentation deteriorates over time, right? So time is
Yes.
kind of the essence. Um,
Exactly.
what are some of the things that you are doing or able to do on older documents? Is it still possible to get them saved, or does it require a special process? Or
Yeah, so we can go as far back as reels. So the 8mm reels, we just added audio reels to our library of things that we can digitize. And I will say that all of those things deteriorate. So we don't do any editing to them. So the quality you have on the tape currently is the quality that you get when we transfer it. So time is really of the essence of on all of those things. So if you don't get it done, once it deteriorates, there's not much you can do. I think television and all those CSI shows have made people believe that you can just kind of
bring it
re-put them
back from the
together.
dead, use a certain carving
Exactly.
process or something like that. Yeah.
But I am here to tell you that that is not fact.
Okay, what is
And we
the,
actually
go ahead.
go ahead. As we actually just had a client the other day who had worked with us a year ago and was actually affected by the fires in California. And he happened to ask for lifetime backup. We were able to get him all of his tapes back, which was also something that was really cool.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is the oddest thing people have asked you to digitize?
Oh, the oddest thing recently was ABCs. So someone had a cassette tape of them teaching their brother ABCs. So it was I mean, how long does it take you to say your ABCs? 10 seconds? So it was a 10-second tape of a maybe 5 or 6-year-old teaching a 3-year-old to their ABCs, which, to me, I'm like, okay, but it was really, really special to them. So that's something that they wanted to hold on to.
Yeah, I think I remember we sent you little cassettes that my wife had recorded, talking to the kids when they were little, and
Yeah, you'd be surprised how much voice really it really hits a nerve with people hearing the voice of someone else. Yeah. Mhm.
well, because you kind of get used to their voices over time, and you can't ever really hear it again until you go
Yeah.
back, right? And same with the video quality.
Yeah. So
What are some of the bigger jobs? I mean, so we're talking about individuals, right? And I think the conversation, especially around the wildfires, are great. But I mean, you've also shared with me some pretty significant jobs that you guys do. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, so we've worked with most of the big companies here in the Seattle area. We've worked with Starbucks, we've worked with Boeing, we've worked with a lot of the big companies here to digitize their videos. And in most cases, it's PR materials that they want preserved for a lifetime, or like a Christmas party footage or something like that. Our training videos, we've done videos for all sorts of companies in the area. I really highly suggest educational establishments, especially like a year like this year where we're all online and no one was really expecting it. There was a lot of things you can do to take some of those old materials that are still very good teaching tools now to put those online. And also any religious organization. We've worked with a couple of churches and churches in the area, and people like to go back and look at old sermons. So that's something also that's been really interesting to think about. Those type of businesses, people do like to go back and look at old sermons. People do like to remember the Easter service when their daughter turned 5. So those are some big companies, some big things that we've done for organizations.
All right. So now, from a practical point of view, how do people get in touch with you, and how does that process, and how long does it take?
Yeah, so the practical part of it is to get in touch with me. The best way is email, support@lotusmedia.us. And the really great thing about us, and the reason why we started our company, is that we wanted local people to have a safe, secure way to drop off their precious memories that are not replaceable, and they don't have to put them in the mail. So we do take mail-in orders, but we've had people drive as far as Canada to bring us their tapes because they didn't want to put them in the mail. So that's something that you should know. We do have a drop off in Bellevue where you can do that. And our turnaround time currently is 10 business days, which is the fastest in the industry. So any of the big companies that you go to, no one's going to do it faster than us. And we do everything in-house in the United States.
Yeah, mom and pop shop. It's not
Exactly.
giant warehouse.
Exactly.
I think that when it
Yeah.
comes to entrusting your memories, right? That's the whole idea
Yeah.
here. Not that you
Ex-
can't send it off to a warehouse, but the folks
Absolutely.
in the greater Seattle area consider the value too is there, right? Because you guys are pretty much
Absolutely.
below the big major competition.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, awesome. I really thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I think this is something, especially given the wildfires, that it would be really smart. And if you've just been putting it off, reach out to Lotus Media. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on the web, lotusmedia.us, right?
Correct.
And
Yeah.
what's that email address one more time?
The email address is support@lotusmedia.us. And for those people that want to give a call, the number is 855-LTS Media.
Awesome. Great service, great local service. And Ngina, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Next up after the break, we're going to be speaking with Doug Peterson, our good friend from Getting Priorities Straight. Join us right after this short commercial break.
Do you get frustrated by how hard life can be sometimes? Well, it doesn't have to be. There's a way to spend your days moving forward instead of digging out from under, especially if you remember to bring your intuition to work. Otherwise, it's like leaving half your brain in the car. Mary Gleason, Executive Intuition Coach, wants to help you tap into your intuition more deeply and more often to help guide you to decisions that are more fully considered and for your greatest good. Learn more by visiting marygleason.life or mary@marygleason.life. That's marygleason.life or mary@marygleason.life.
Welcome back. You are watching Real Talk with Dan with the Eastside Real Estate Team. And our last guest today is Mr. Doug Peterson with Get Priorities Straight. The last 20 years, Doug has been helping align people with their goals. He is the founder of Get Priorities Straight, founded in 2018 to provide a program that helps individuals maximize their personal income and improves their ability to invest. He founded and ran 8 businesses in his career. Doug has perfected the system that works regardless of industry, marital status, or income. He is currently working with Amazon managers, wealth managers, real estate professionals, attorneys, and technology professionals. Welcome to the show, Doug. What are we talking about today?
Well, people are going through lots of challenges. And the biggest thing we're talking about, and Sheila really hit on this, is what do you want to do? Would you like to have your money go where you want it to go? Or do you want to just wonder where it went? Because so many people don't pay attention to personal finances, but they want to build their business and they want to invest, but then they're just kind of too tired or just don't want to deal with it. And so what I really want to talk about today is just how do you build a financial foundation that allows you to work with Sheila and create the life you want and be able to afford Ngina to be able to document the life you have. How about that? I just wrote that just now.
Wow, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
well done.
like that.
So, so it's all about knowing where your money is going. And why is that so important?
It's amazing how much waste we have. If we were to look back and know exactly how much things cost, the trip we went on, how much we're going out to dinner, often we wouldn't make the same choice. But not knowing really makes a huge difference. The credit card companies found that people using credit spend 23% more because they really don't know. They're not looking at their checkbook, seeing if it's going to bounce. They're just borrowing money. So it's absolutely critical. If you have goals, and so many people have big goals, like I want to buy a house, I want to put my kids through college, I'd like to retire, we'd like to do some traveling, we'd like to remodel the house. You're not going to do all those at once. So you need to decide where you want your money to go and what do you want it to do and what's most important, and then be on the same page with your spouse.
Now, you said something in there about the credit card companies knowing, and one of my questions I have for you is, why do people spend so much more money on credit versus cash?
So I'd be curious if anybody has heard this before, but MIT Neurobiology Lab did a study on what chemicals are produced in the brain. And we all have probably heard about dopamine. So when you see something you want to buy and you're on Amazon and it's an impulse buy, or you're going through the checkout line, your brain produces dopamine. Well, when you actually take cash out of your wallet, and the study was with students and checking and determining this brain chemical, when they had to take money out of their wallet, seeing that it went down to $100 to $50, they created a chemical called insula. Insula kind of lowers the whole dopamine level and says, do I really want to buy this? When you use credit, insula is not created in your brain. In fact, not only have we not handed cash anymore, and when we were kids, we'd trade marbles or trade something, Pokemon cards, depending on how old you are, and we'd trade something and we'd get something back. Well, then we'd give you the credit card and they'd swipe it and give it back to you, but that didn't create any insula. Now we just tap it. And we have subscriptions. Yeah. So people don't know how much money is going out the door. Oh, and by the way, if you buy a lot of stuff from Amazon, and a lot of people do, all it says on your credit card is Amazon. It doesn't tell you what you bought or where you bought it. So it's really critical to determine where your money's going, the first question, but also knowing how much you want to spend on something makes a huge difference on your choices. But you can't look back and change it. You have to know real time how much you got left in your entertainment budget, in your dining out budget, in your grocery budget. And it's funny too, when my wife, just as a side note, when my wife and I started doing this, groceries is one of the toughest ones, believe it or not. We started actually going through the freezer and going through the cabinets and saying, I don't want to spend our entertainment budget on groceries. Let's see what we got.
What do we got? Yeah, that's actually brilliant. So what is the first step to kind of coming out of the dark with your finances per se?
So the very first step is you need to know where your money's going. And I use a program called YNAB, and it's very inexpensive. Everybody can do it themselves, or they can hire our company to do it and work with my team. But it's basically giving every dollar a job. It's the same program Dave Ramsey teaches, but Dave Ramsey teaches a program, they don't implement it for people. So it's really deciding, of all the money I have, I don't have savings, I don't have extra. I either have retirement, I have vacation, I have emergency fund, I have home repair, and it's just like time management. When you add up all the things you need to do during the day, there's not much time left. So if you add up everything you're already committed to, there's probably not going to be a lot of money left, and you need to fund the things that are important to you.
So
investing in real estate.
Yeah, of course, which is can be a perpetual opportunity of income to add more cash flow to your buckets, correct?
Yep, absolutely.
So then, not that this is anybody's marriage at all, but sometimes people aren't on the same page when it comes to how to allocate those buckets. What can people do if they find themselves in that odd situation? It's probably super rare.
Well, I think
Sheila, being sarcastic too, by the way.
Sheila has never run into anybody, and I don't think Ngina has had any issues around money.
Right.
But the idea of taking it from a conversation that's a generality and an accusation or an opinion of we can't afford that, you're spending too much. Too much what? Afford what compared to what? It comes down to, well, we've already given every dollar a job. What bucket do you want to come out? Do you want it to come out of? Well, I don't want it to come out of my spending. Well, I don't want it to come out of my spending. Well, I don't want it to come out of Christmas. Well, I don't want it to come out of vacation. Maybe you don't want it if you can't figure that out. But it takes all the emotion out, or at least most of the emotion out. And you're talking about real things. So getting on the same page is knowledge. It's information. It's what Sheila shared. It's having a really clear vision of what you want. And we had a situation where we had bed bugs, and we had already burned through our emergency fund of $5,000, which, by the way, most people don't have. And she had to have a new bed. I'm a guy. Let's just put in a bed bug cover and save a lot of money. But I want to stay married. So where? And she said, vacation fund. I said, okay, it's worth staying married to use our vacation fund to buy a new bed.
Your vacation is a nice new bed. Nothing wrong with that.
And the feet come up and the head comes up. It's really cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there you go. So, so tell me a story about somebody that approached you in the last couple of months and how you've helped them.
I had an attorney talk to me about how they had been working for 14 years for an organization, started their own business, and just has slowly got behind. And they end up being $125,000 in debt at 24%. And we took a look at it, and their credit score was terrible. So what we did was we moved the unsecured debt into a secured HELOC, which they were able to do. Their credit score shot up 136 points. So we went from 25% down to 4.75%, then refinanced their house at 2.7% and saved them about $45,000. Now, the point of working together wasn't that. That was just another outcome because they didn't know where all their money was going. They were spending too much on the business and they were spending too much personally. And it wasn't painful to start living within their means. They just didn't know where it was going.
Yeah.
So it's amazing the impact we can have. Not everybody's like that. Some of them are just, all right, finally I can sleep at night. You know, I know we'll be okay.
Yeah. So give us a one super amazing, super secret tip, maybe something we haven't talked about on this show, that anybody watching the show could implement right now and start on their journey here.
You know, we see people either on the radio or we hear about them or we read about them and go, boy, I'd really like to hire them, but you can do this yourself. I can help people do it a lot faster, but the company, You Need a Budget, YouNeedABudget.com, YNAB. I tell everybody that can't afford me, just you can do this on your own, but it's work, and you're going to have to learn new behaviors, and you're going to have to spend a bunch of time to learn how to do this the way it's taught. But if you want, you know, one thing that could impact the largest population, I would say make a decision to know where your money goes before you spend it, and have that discipline to build a system in place. And I'd be happy to talk to anybody for a free, you know, visit, just to talk about that more and what you could do. But I just think it's so critical. I went into this from doing mentoring for 20 years because it was ruining health, it was ruining marriages, and it was ruining businesses. And somebody like Sheila, in my opinion, Sheila, can't help you if you're just totally stressed out and on the edge. You just can't be self-actualized if you're in survival. So I would say that'd be the first step. And it starts out with the very first question. Know where your money's going. Most people don't want to look at it. It's usually not as bad, or it could be worse than you think. That's why people don't want to look at it.
It's true. I know for me, whenever I look at my life as a whole, I look at business, personal, spiritual, financial, and health, right? So each of these segments in my life, I'm constantly setting goals and trying to achieve and make my best self each time, you know, through growth. One thing that they show is like, if you put these kind of together in like this concentric circle and one of them's flat, that wheel kind of bumps along, you know? So, you know, by having, you know, maybe neglecting the financial while you're working, which it's not unheard of. Sometimes we just kind of do that. And I've really made a very conscious decision in my business life to actually hire professionals to implement bookkeeping and budgeting and stuff like that, so that I can look at my business and know what it needs to do to get healthier if it's not, you know, if it's not performing. And I think for me, this is a personal admission, but my finances at home were the last thing I started working on. And to be honest, if I had gone back and looked at it, I knew that they could be the first thing that I look at, because even though I can make money in my business, if it's never enough in my home, then I'm constantly going to be stressed out or trying to take away time from one to the other. So I want to encourage anybody out there watching this, if they want just that, like I said, a free consultation. Doug, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, my email address is doug@getprioritiesstraight.com. Phone number is 206-264-4424. Or you can go on my website and schedule from there. You can go on LinkedIn. Instagram is Let's_GPS. And I'm on Facebook as well. So any of those are great ways. Or email Dan, because Dan's a great guy and he'll forward it to me.
Absolutely.
Hey, one other quick thing though, you talked about a great tip. Remember, money is just a form of exchange. And it's a form of exchange that we think is universal. But really what's universal is life energy. The amount of time you're spending earning that money, and then how quickly you're letting it go for stuff you don't even care about. It's really amazing. So why would you waste precious life energy on things you just don't care about. What's the old saying? To impress people you don't know that you don't like, or something.
That's
like
right. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
I got that all wrong. Thanks, Dan.
That's about right. You work hard to spend a bunch of money on a bunch of things that you don't need to impress people that you probably don't like. It's never, I mean, because if they're only impressed by that and not your character, then you got a problem. So, Doug, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it. All right, after this break, we will have a short synopsis of what's going on in the housing market. Join us after this short break.
The pest stops here. Green City Pest Control is your full-service pest solution for all your pest control needs. With an owner with 32 years experience, a board-certified entomologist, and rodent specialist, we do it all. Bats to rats, crawl space, or attic. Call us and we will resolve your problem. 425-413-9700.
Final segment. All right, welcome back. This is our final segment with the Real Talk with Dan. And I thought what I would do is just kind of show you a little bit of a background here. Let's see if I can get it. Right here, you're going to start to see the numbers for Sammamish. Let me scoot over to the side, pop up. And if you guys can all see that, right? My panelists there. Just thought I'd share with you the interesting occurrence that we saw in August. We saw August have record high pendings from the previous year, and that really is attributed to the fact that we pushed our housing market back, because typically August in the Northwest, people are out on vacation before going back to school. But this August, we saw a real surge in contracts written, that's called pending. When they go off the market, when somebody writes it, it goes pending. We also saw the 12th consecutive month of reduced inventory. So we're in kind of a state where the drag on sales for us is inventory. So if you happen to know of anybody out there that is thinking about downsizing or thinking about relocating or thinking about even upsizing, there is a need for housing. And new construction took a wallop this year and got kicked back probably another 6 to 8 months. You know, we're still not back to 2007 with regards to building. So there's just a real strong need. And, you know, I'd be happy to chat with anybody about how to make the most of a transition because we need, A, we need homes, and B, if you're going to be a buyer, you need to look like a cash buyer. You don't have to be a cash buyer, but you need to look like it. So anyways, I thought I'd share that with y'all. I want to thank Sheila and Ngina and Doug for coming on. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you coming on today. I hope you all found this informative and can share the posts with your friends. We're going to have it, you know, segmented out, and I'll make sure each of our panelists gets a copy of it. Please share with your friends, colleagues, and if you're interested in being on the show, reach out to us at dan.edwards@kw.com, dan.edwards@kw.com. And if you need information about real estate, you can reach me at 425-200-4093. Thanks for having the conversation with us. Thanks for everybody being on. We really appreciate you.